The Democratic Republic of Congo, or DRC, is a land of immense natural wealth. Its soil bursts with valuable minerals like gold, diamonds, copper, and coltan. Yet this abundance has become a double-edged sword. Instead of prosperity, the DRC is mired in conflict. Violence has plagued the nation for decades, leaving deep scars. The DRC's history is intertwined with its vast mineral reserves. These resources have attracted exploitation and greed, fueling instability. The country's natural wealth, meant to be a blessing, has become a curse. It has trapped the DRC in a cycle of conflict and poverty. We will explore the core issues driving the unrest, including the fractured national army and the proliferation of rebel groups. We will also examine the role of the international community, particularly the UN peacekeeping force. Through this exploration, we aim to shed light on the complexities of the conflict. Ultimately, lasting peace and stability can only arise from within. The DRC's future lies in the hands of its people. At the heart of the DRC's conflict lies its own national army, the FARDC. Poor pay, inadequate training, and rampant corruption have eroded its effectiveness. Soldiers often go unpaid for months, leading to low morale and indiscipline. The weakness of the FARDC creates a fertile ground for rebel groups. Disillusioned soldiers are easily lured into joining these groups. The promise of regular pay and better conditions proves irresistible for many. This constant drain of manpower further weakens the army and strengthens the insurgency. The M23 rebel group exemplifies this cycle, with many fighters being former FARDC soldiers. They defected due to grievances over pay, promotions, and ethnic discrimination. The M23's success in recruiting from the army highlights the deep-seated problems plaguing the FARDC. Instead of addressing the root causes of the army's weakness, the government often chooses to negotiate with rebel groups. These deals often involve integrating rebel fighters into the army, sometimes with higher ranks and amnesties for past crimes. While seemingly pragmatic, this approach only reinforces the cycle of violence. It encourages further defections and undermines the army's integrity. The DRC's vast mineral wealth has become a major driver of conflict. These resources have attracted both domestic and foreign actors vying for control. Rebel groups, often backed by neighboring countries, exploit the country's mineral wealth to finance their operations. Goma, the capital of North Kivu province, exemplifies this dynamic. Strategically located near the Rwandan border, Goma sits amidst a region rich in minerals. This proximity facilitates the smuggling of minerals and the movement of armed groups. Goma has become a focal point of conflict, with various armed groups fighting for control. The presence of valuable minerals in the DRC has created a resource curse. Instead of benefiting the Congolese people, these resources have fueled violence, corruption, and instability. The competition for control of mining areas has led to human rights abuses, displacement, and environmental degradation. Efforts to regulate the mining industry and promote transparency are crucial. Consumers and businesses must also demand ethically sourced minerals. Ultimately, the DRC's mineral wealth must benefit its people, not fuel further violence. The DRC's internal conflicts are deeply intertwined with the actions of its neighbors. Rwanda and Uganda in particular have been accused of fueling instability in the eastern DRC. Both countries have been accused of supporting rebel groups operating in the region. Rwanda's involvement in the DRC is linked to the aftermath of the 1994 Rwandan genocide. Hutu militias responsible for the genocide fled to eastern DRC, where they regrouped and continued to pose a threat to Rwanda. Rwanda has justified its interventions in the DRC as necessary to neutralize this threat. Uganda too has been accused of supporting rebel groups in the DRC, often citing security concerns and economic interests. Uganda has been accused of exploiting the DRC's resources, particularly timber and minerals. The involvement of neighboring states in the DRC's conflicts has exacerbated the violence and instability. Addressing the regional dimensions of the conflict is crucial. This requires fostering dialogue, building trust, and promoting cooperation between the DRC and its neighbors. Ultimately, a lasting solution to the DRC's conflict requires addressing the underlying regional tensions and promoting cooperation among neighboring states. The international community has long been involved in the DRC's struggles. The United Nations peacekeeping mission, MONUSCO, is one of the largest and most expensive in the world. It has been present in the country for over 2 decades, yet despite its presence, peace remains elusive. MONUSCO has faced criticism for its perceived ineffectiveness in protecting civilians and preventing violence. One of the main criticisms is its inability to prevent the advance of rebel groups. There have been instances where MONUSCO troops have been present during rebel attacks, but have failed to intervene effectively. This has led to accusations that the mission is too passive and lacks the will or capacity to fulfill its mandate. Another criticism is MONUSCO's failure to adequately protect civilians. Despite its mandate to protect civilians from violence, massacres and human rights abuses continue to occur in areas where MONUSCO is deployed. The UN's efforts in the DRC highlight the challenges of peacekeeping in complex and volatile environments. A lack of resources, coordination problems, and a perceived lack of political will have hampered MONUSCO's effectiveness. A reassessment of the mission's mandate, strategy, and resources is needed. Ultimately, the UN's efforts in the DRC must be aligned with the needs and aspirations of the Congolese people. To understand the DRC's present-day struggles requires delving into its tumultuous past. The country's history is marked by colonialism, dictatorship, and regional conflicts. These have left deep scars on the nation's psyche and continue to shape its present. The DRC gained independence from Belgium in 1960. However, this newfound freedom was short-lived. The country's first democratically elected Prime Minister, Patrice Lumumba, was assassinated in 1961. His assassination, believed to have been orchestrated by Western powers and internal rivals, plunged the country into chaos. Following Lumumba's assassination, Mobutu Sese Seko seized power in a coup. Mobutu would go on to rule the DRC, which he renamed Zaire, for 32 years. His regime was characterized by authoritarianism, corruption, and human rights abuses. The Rwandan genocide in 1994 had a profound impact on the DRC. Hutu militias responsible for the genocide fled across the border into eastern DRC, taking with them millions of refugees. This influx of refugees destabilized the region and contributed to the First and Second Congo Wars. The M23 rebel group, active in the eastern DRC from 2012 to 2013, exemplifies the complex dynamics of the conflict. Composed primarily of Congolese Tutsi fighters, the M23 emerged from a mutiny within the Congolese army. They accused the government of failing to implement a peace agreement signed in 2009. The M23 quickly gained notoriety for its military prowess. It captured the strategic city of Goma in 2012, highlighting the Congolese army's weakness and the UN peacekeeping force's limitations. The M23's leader, Sultani Makenga, became a symbol of the rebellion. The M23's success was short-lived. Facing international pressure and a concerted military offensive by the Congolese army backed by UN forces, the M23 was eventually defeated in 2013. Makenga fled the country and the group was officially disbanded. The M23's rise and fall highlight the cyclical nature of conflict in the DRC. The group emerged from the ashes of previous rebellions, fueled by the same grievances of ethnic discrimination, poor governance, and competition for resources. Its defeat, while a positive development, did not address the underlying causes of the conflict. The DRC's long conflict demands a multifaceted solution. While the international community can support, lasting solutions must come from within. The Congolese people must be the architects of their own destiny. Reforming the security sector is key. The army needs to be professionalized and depoliticized. Addressing corruption, improving training and equipment, and ensuring fair pay is essential. A more effective army provides security and stability. Tackling corruption and promoting good governance and ensuring equitable resource access are crucial. Promoting dialogue and reconciliation heals past wounds. Addressing past atrocities and promoting justice fosters reconciliation between communities. The international community must support without imposing solutions. The road to peace in the DRC is long, but prioritizing Congolese-led solutions offers hope.